Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vandachari Yamuna Tira Vandachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodana Rana Braja Jana Rajana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Rajana Yamuna Tira Vandachari Yamuna Tira Vandachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Sitaram, 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 Jaya Sitaram, Sitaram, Jaya Sitaram, Sitaram, Jaya Sitaram, 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 Jaya Sitaram, Raghupati Raghava Rajaram, Patita Pavana 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 Sitaram. Sitaram Jaya 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 Sitaram. Raghupati Raghava Rajaram. Patita Pavana Sitaram. Raghupati Raghava Rajaram. Patita Pavana Sitaram. Sitaram Jaya Sitaram. Sitaram Jaya Sitaram. Sitaram. Sitaram Jaya Sitaram. Patita Pavana Sitaram. Patita Pavana Sitaram. Patita Pavana Sitaram. Patita Pavana Sitaram. Sitaram Jaya Sitaram. Sitaram Jaya Sitaram. Sitaram. Sitaram Jaya Sitaram. Sitaram Jaya Sitaram. Sitaram Jaya Sitaram. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Astotara's Divine Grace of Bhai Charanavinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Shamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrinavandam Ki Jai. Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai. Gangamaya Jamuna Maya Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the most holy appearance of Lord Ramachandra. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Agyanatana Shaganandana Shalakaya Chakshur Udminitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. So today is a very special day on the Vaishnava calendar. Today is the appearance day, or the celebration of the appearance of Lord Ramachandra, who, as we know, is Vishnu Tattva, and he is Krishna himself in another form, in Treta Yuga, in a different time, different purpose, different form. Lord Ramachandra had appeared as a righteous king, and I think we probably all know the backstory of Lord Ramachandra, but just a quick synopsis. Lord Ramachandra was born to Dasarath, King Dasarath, who was a very righteous, also very pious, righteous king. he ended up having 4 sons by 3 wives. And once upon a time, Lord Ramachandra, who is Krishna himself, and the other 3 sons are part of the Chaturvyuha, Lord Ramachandra appeared, and he was a very extraordinary personality. Everybody understood from the very beginning, and he was very much beloved growing up. He exhibited wonderful pastimes and was being trained in the kingly duties to take over he's the eldest son, so he was being trained to take over the kingdom, trained by his very qualified father, Dasarath, and of course his mother, Kaushalya, and his other aunties or mothers were there, all training him up to be the king of Ayodhya. And of course, we know the diversion they call it providence or fate. Of course, it's the Lord's Leela. When that time when Ram was brought up nicely and it came time for King Dasharath to retire timely and give the kingdom over to his qualified heir, Lord Ramachandra. And before the coronation, right before the coronation, one personality who was very envious, and it is said that Mantara was beaten by Lord Ramachandra when he was very young, but not because of malice or ill intent, but he hit her actually in some way that she didn't like. It was childish, childish sort of folly. This is a story. This is a pastime that I was digging around and found in particularly South India. This is what is believed. And Mantara developed much of a disdain for the child. And so Bharat, another, she was the maidservant of Kaikeyi, so Bharat was Kaikeyi's son, and she developed more of an attachment. Mantara developed a little bit more of an attachment to him, although Kaikeyi herself was actually more attached to Ram. Much like in Krishna Lila, all of the cowherd maidens and their mothers, the elder gopis, they all thought of Krishna as their beloved son, and they loved Krishna more than they loved their own sons, practically. It is said in the Bhagavatam. So when he grew up and he was set to be coronated as the king formally, that's that time that Mantara took her very envious stance and told Kaikeyi, no, Rama should not have this opportunity. It should go to Bharat, So she poisoned Kaikeyi's mind. She actually, manipulated her quite a lot. And, it's all pastime, it's all Leela, because Mantara was also the change agent for this whole, with this whole pastime, because if Ram would have been coronated, and there would have been no problem, and we wouldn't have had this churning of events, particularly the killing of the demon Ravana, Lord Ramachandra killing the demon Ravana. And Ravana, as we know, as many demons, had already done, he was very notorious, he already had done a lot of heinous things. It's kind of like when you have the good side and the bad side, and the bad's there, but the good doesn't really want to touch the bad. They want to leave that alone because, sometimes bad just can't be turned to good. That's a rule of the universe. And that actually came through in this text out of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So the 9th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam talks all about Lord Ramachandra. And it actually doesn't speak so much about Rama's growing up and a lot of his pastimes up to a point of killing Ravana, because in the Bhagavatam we know that Krishna annihilates the miscreants, and that's why he comes. He appears to annihilate the miscreants. So in the Bhagavatam they're very much focusing on the dispatch of Ravana. So there's 2 texts, and there might be 2 more to read at the end, but this is on the 9th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, or 9th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is chapter 10, and this is text 22. Ramastamaha Purashara Purishayana Astamaha Purishada Purishayana Kanta Samaksham Ashata Parita Swavate Tyakta Trapasha Phalamadya Jugupti Shittasha Yachami Gala Iva Kartura Langya Virya Ramastamaha Purushara Purishayana Kanta Samaksha Sataprita Svavate Whoops. Svavate Tvakta Trapasha Phalamadya Jugupsitasha Yachami Kala Iva Kartura Langya Virya Somebody like to repeat? Ramastamaha Purushara Purishayana Kanda Samakshama Sata Parirat Swavate Tyakta Trapasha Palamadya Jagupchitasha Yachami Kala Iva Kartura Langya Virya Ramastamaha Purushara Purishayana Kanta Shamakshama Sata Parita Swavate Takta Trapasha Phalamadya Jagupjitasha Yachami Kala Iva Kartura Langya Virya Okay. Rama, Lord Ramachandra, Tam, unto him, Ravana, Aha, said, Purusha Ada Purusha, you are the stool of the man-eaters, Rakshasas. Yat, because, na, my, kanta, wife, ashamaksham, helpless because of my absence, asata, by you the most sinful, aparita, was kidnapped, svavat, like a dog who takes food from the kitchen in the absence of the proprietor. Te, of you. Tyakta trapasya, because you are shameless. Phalamadya, I shall give you the result today. Jugupshitasha, of you the most abominable. Yachami, I shall punish you. Kala iva, like death. Kartu, of you who are the performer of all sinful activities. Alangya virya, but I, being omnipotent, never fail in my attempt. Translation. Lord Ramachandra said to Ravana, "You are the most abominable of the man-eaters. Indeed, you are like their stool. You resemble a dog, for as a dog steals eatables from the kitchen in the absence of the householder, in my absence, you kidnapped my wife, Sita Devi. Therefore, as Yamaraj punishes sinful men, I shall also punish you. You are most abominable, sinful, and shameless. Today, therefore, I, whose attempt never fails, shall punish you." Everybody like to repeat? Lord Ramachandra said to Ravana, "You are the most abominable of the man-eaters. Indeed, you are like their stool. You resemble a dog. For as a dog steals eatables from the kitchen, in the absence of the householder, in my absence, you kidnapped my wife, Sita Devi. Therefore, as Yamaraj punishes sinful men, I shall also punish you. You are most abominable, sinful, and shameless. Today, therefore, I, whose attempt never fails, shall punish you." So the purport is actually by Srila Prabhupada. So all these purports are by Srila Prabhupada. Nacha daivat param balam. No one can surpass the strength of the transcendence. Ravana was so sinful and shameless that he did not know what the result would be of kidnapping Mother Sita, the pleasure potency of Ramachandra. This is the disqualification of the Rakshasas. Asatyam apratishtam te jagat ahur anishvaram. Bhagavad Gita 16:8. The Rakshasas are unaware that the Supreme Lord is the ruler of the creation. They think that everything has come about by chance or accident and that there is no ruler, king, or controller. Therefore, the Rakshasas act independently, as they like, going even so far as to kidnap the goddess of fortune. This policy of Ravana's is extremely dangerous for the materialist. Indeed, it brings ruin to the materialistic civilization. Nonetheless, because atheists are Rakshasas, they dare to do things that are most abominable, and thus they are punished without fail. Religion consists of the orders of the Supreme Lord, and one who carries out these orders is religious. One who fails to carry out the Lord's orders is irreligious, and he is to be punished. And let's go ahead and read together text 23, and then I'll read also the purport to that, because they're very intrinsically linked. Evam shapan danushi sanditam utsa sarja banam sa vajram iva tadridayam bibeda so srigvamanda sa mukair nyapadad vimanad dahyeti jalpati jane sukritiva riktaha. After thus rebuking Ravana, Lord Ramachandra fixed an arrow to his bow, aimed at Ravana, and released the arrow, which pierced Ravana's heart like a thunderbolt. Upon seeing this, Ravana's followers raised a tumultuous sound, crying, "Alas, alas, what has happened? What has happened?" As Ravana, vomiting blood from his 10 mouths, fell from his airplane, just as a pious man falls to earth from the heavenly planets when the results of his pious activities are exhausted. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In Bhagavad Gita 9:21, it is said, "Shine punye martya lokam vishanti." When the results of their pious activities are exhausted, those who have enjoyed in the heavenly planets fall again to earth. The fruitive activities of this material world are such that whether one acts piously or impiously, one must remain within the material world according to different conditions, for neither pious nor impious actions can relieve one from Maya's clutches of repeated birth and death. Somehow or other, Ravana was raised to an exalted position as the king of a great kingdom with all material opulences. But because of his sinful act of kidnapping Mother Sita, all the results of his pious activities were destroyed. If one offends an exalted personality, especially the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one certainly becomes most abominable. Bereft of the results of pious activities, one must fall down like Ravana and other demons. It is therefore advised that one transcend both pious and impious activities and remain in the pure state of freedom from all designations. Sarva padi vinir muktam tat paretvena nirmalam. When one is fixed in devotional service, he is above the material platform. On the material platform, there are higher and lower positions, but when one is above the material platform, he is always fixed in a spiritual position. Sa gunam samatityantam brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Ravana, or those like him, may be very powerful and opulent in this material world, but theirs is not a secure position because, after all, they are bound by the results of their karma. Karmana daiva netrena. We should not forget that we are completely dependent on the laws of nature. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha ahankara vimudatma kartamaita manyate. The bewildered spirit soul, under the influence of the 3 modes of material nature, thinks himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by nature. One should not be proud of one's exalted position and act like Ravana, thinking oneself independent of material nature's laws. So, to everyone listening and to the world in general, I bear tidings of great joy that good always will triumph over evil. And this actually puts it down in very clear terms. Transcendence will always overcome that abominable, sinful thinking and actions. Right now, it seems that in this material world, in our time and place, this was in a different yuga, Treta Yuga. It was mostly good, actually. It was much, much better than Kali Yuga. It was right after Satya Yuga. And so there was still quite a lot of good. There was quite a lot of piety, truth, all the 4 pillars of Dharma. They were still mostly intact. Then there was this one sort of rogue person, Ravana, this demon. There were demons. There were Rakshasas. We know at the end of the killing of Ravana, Lord Ramachandra actually puts Vibhishan in charge of the Rakshasas, But the Rakshasas were sort of held in place because even though the Rakshasas had some abominable tendencies, sinful tendencies, they kind of stayed in their lane a little bit more because the Ram Raj at the time particularly, or that transcendent the good in the world was still prevalent. So, like if you have a drop of ink in milk, It doesn't do so much to change the color of the milk, but if you put, dump the whole, inkwell into the milk, then it will turn gray or black as it is. So then there wasn't so much sinful activity. Fast forward to where we're at in Kali Yuga, where it even appears, in my lifetime, there was still some truth. The last leg of Dharma, there was still a little bit of truth. And it appears that even now, that little bit of truth, that little bit squeaking by with a little bit of Dharma is starting to go away. And that's being hastened by the advent of AI, because now persons are being fooled of what's going on, what's not going on, because, everybody relies on their senses, particularly their vision, even though without light we can't see. We have imperfect senses, but many don't realize that. So it appears that the evil or the sinful is hastening, and Dharma, the last vestiges of Dharma are declining. However, there is still, and always will be, good and transcendence. That's something that is unshakable, because that is Krishna. That is the Supreme Lord. That is the absolute truth. He is the transcendence, the light, the where goodness emanates from, sattva, sattva gund. And fortunately, those of us who are aware of the Lord, aware of the greatness of the Lord, and aware of the transcendence, we can hold that in our hearts. We take great joy, and we can certainly try to spread that joy around in incremental bits. But we are definitely in the minority. I was doing some research that right now on this planet there's about almost 8.5 billion people, humans. That's not counting animals, but humans, jivas. And by contrast, there's, depending on how you identify, certainly there's probably not even 1 million persons in ISKCON, ISKCON proper, but as Vaishnavas, or they classify themselves as Vaishnavas, or they identify themselves even in the sort of the Hindu religion as Vaishnavas, there could be up to 10 million. But if you do the math, 10 million, even at the highest level, is a drop in the bucket practically to 8.5 billion persons. Billion. And Prabhupada gave us this wonderful knowledge. He brought all of this to us to help us understand the truth and the light and the transcendence. He helped us understand those topics, not just to sort of sit around and, revel in the fact that we know about Krishna. We're very grateful. We know about Krishna. We're so blessed, and we're actually, it's a very rare thing, as is stated in the Bhagavad Gita. Out of, many millions of men, only one will know about Krishna. And of that, let's see if they can go back to Godhead. That's another aspect. But at least we know about Krishna. So in this world right now, as we just heard, we're being overrun, really, with these demonic influences. We're being, unfortunately, we're being inundated. We read about things, or maybe we try not to read about things. We hear about things, things come to us that we cringe, and we feel very apprehensive, particularly even going out into the world or functioning in the world. But actually, we have a lot, as Vaishnavas, we have so much power because of our great fortune and this gift that Prabhupada has given us. We're beyond blessed, and it's really, Prabhupada says it's kripana for us not to go out and try to share Krishna with others. We must go out and try to share Krishna with others. You know, Prabhupada came here through great physical expense and mental energy, and expended so much time and effort in his little time establishing ISKCON on the planet for a short 10 years. You know, 10 years is not very long to establish a worldwide movement. That's nothing short of a miracle, actually. But he came here to give more people outside of India this knowledge. Because without this knowledge, humanity and civilization is, as we see, descending into ruination. We know that's the way of Kali Yuga. You know, Kali Yuga is the Iron Age, the age of quarrel and hypocrisy. It's, you know, everybody's very troublesome, very quarrelsome. But, you know, that shouldn't apply to the devotees, or maybe, let's say, so-called devotees. You know, we talk about the devotees. A devotee is someone that's devoted to Krishna. Devoted to Krishna, what does that mean, devoted to Krishna? Devoted to Krishna is in the mood of the gopis, so devoted to Krishna that we want to serve Krishna. We want to try to get to know Krishna. We want to learn to love Krishna. That's devoted. And devoted is when you have somebody that you're so in love with, you want to share that love with others. You want to share that knowledge even of loving. I mean, everybody's met people who are, you know, they have a new love, and the new love is, you know, oh my gosh, you know, I'm thinking about this person night and day, and, you know, we've all been there. And, you know, when you hear this from somebody, you know, there's a little bit of like, wow, that's so wonderful, you know, this person. So, you know, they appear very happy, they appear very, you know, joyful. They're so happy to share about, you know, their experiences. They're so happy to share about, you know, a little bit personal details about, you know, the relationship sometimes, you know, oh, they brought me such a beautiful bouquet, or they cooked me dinner, or whatever, you know, whatever kind of nice gestures they want to share. And if those of us in the Krishna consciousness movement are not sharing with others, just whoever that would be willing to listen. Of course, we can't preach to the faithless, right? We know, I think maybe all of us in the room can kind of understand who might be receptive to some degree, who might hear us out a little bit about Krishna. Or, you know, many times it's persons in a place where they're just attracted to a devotee. You know, the devotee is always effulgent. The devotee has a different look than, you know, everybody. And they're immediately attracted, you know. Recently, Sundari and myself were just walking around. We were in a farmer's market, and the gentleman there, who we talk to regularly, he grows nice things like, well, we got some really beautiful fresh turmeric bulbs or roots from him the other day, and he grows different things, you know. I mean, that's a Gyata Sukriti too. They're growing. I know the people that grow the sprouts for Purvan Kamalini, you know, she's a very nice woman. One day we went up to her and she's like, oh, just take these persimmons. I can't sell them. They're not saleable, you know. People want to give things to devotees. They want to talk to devotees. They want to, you know, kind of look at the devotee, and they want to know what's going on. Many times if we're out flower shopping, persons will say, wow, what's with all those flowers? Is there a party? Everybody's excited about parties. You know, this man that grows things at the farmer's market, he looked at us and he just said, you're so bright. You know, he was just, you know, taken aback. And those are the kind of interactions that one by one we can cultivate. There's this huge debate going on about who can be a guru. Who can be a guru? You know, it's like a rubber stamping. Okay, now you're a guru because this, and this, and this. But, you know, Shiksha gurus in our line traditionally hold a lot of more weight even than Diksha gurus. And literally everybody in this Krishna consciousness movement is a Shiksha guru, whether they know it or not, or whether they think so or not. They are a Shiksha guru. They can go out, they have the power to go out and just be on tour with everybody they meet, wherever they go. You know, whether it's Braxton's, I bring those guys cookies and other baked items. They're ecstatic when they have prasadam. People are ecstatic with prasadam. They're ecstatic if they get a maha garland. They're ecstatic sometimes hearing the holy names, especially children. All these activities is something that each and every devotee in this movement should be doing, regardless of whether you think you're a guru or whether you've been designated as a guru. Every single person who is in Krishna consciousness can be a spiritual master to another. You can be a Vartma Pradakshina guru to anybody right now. Right now. You don't have to wait. Nobody has to wait for anybody to tell them that they can be a spiritual master or that they can be a guru. There's no waiting. There's no time to waste, or there's no time to wait. We have to go out right now. And trust me, if I could go out if there was some mechanism, some way that I could go out every single day and just sit and try to call people over and talk to people about Krishna, I would absolutely do it at this point, because we see the world, and the world is on fire. I was speaking with Mahamantri yesterday on his birthday, and we were both discussing the fact that we can't even look at the news. It's horrifying, and it's terrifying, right? And I just keep thinking, is there some way we can all reach out? We can all, in ISKCON and even other persons that know about Krishna in other sampradayas, whoever it may be, if you know about Krishna, everybody needs to unite and be on the same platform to try to give out the holy names, because everybody that knows about the holy names, regardless of who you're affiliated with or what your position is, anybody that knows about the holy names can be a guru. They can be a spiritual master. We're reading about Lord Rama, and we take this guidance from Lord Ram, because he was the best of the rulers. He treated everybody with so much love and care, like a father, like a dear father. He was the father to everybody in his kingdom. He made sure everybody was taken care of so they could execute their Krishna consciousness, actually, you know, being a pious king. We can't, unfortunately, we don't have that luxury. We don't have a pious king, a pious ruler that gives us that sort of protection, or that enables us to spread the word about the absolute truth, about transcendence. But I'm quite sure that right now, particularly, many people would love to hear this message. They want to hear this message. They want to be touched by the words of Lord Ram, of being in that transcendent space where we can also give out this transcendence, where we can point to the transcendence, where we can rise up together and try to give it out to whoever we meet. Whoever we meet. We can't be afraid. Those times, maybe back in I don't know what times, maybe in the 80s or the 90s, where maybe there was a lot of burnout from some of the tactics of the devotees early on. Most people have no idea about Krishna now, or Hare Krishna. People have never heard of Hare Krishna. Sometimes we'll talk to an older person and we'll tell them, oh yes, I'm from the Hare Krishna temple. Oh, aren't you the guys that were in the airports in the 70s? Somehow that's everybody's go-to. They remember the Krishnas in the airports in the 70s. But 8 out of 10 people have no idea about Hare Krishna. They'd have no idea that it exists. And they're waiting. They're suffering in silence, and they're waiting. And you can see it on their faces. Whenever anybody goes out to the doctor's office or the store or anywhere, you see people walking around. They have very just sorrowful looks on their faces. It's quite painful to see sometimes, because some people, when you see them, they look like ghosts. They don't even look like they're in their body. And they're just existing. They're existing, it's a miserable existence. We should all try, each and every person, try to channel this transcendent triumph over evil. We have to try to carry that, and we have to empower others with that knowledge, with this message of transcendence and truth, particularly the truth. Everyone's looking for the truth. There's so many people looking for the absolute truth. No one knows what it is. I actually one day Googled a website. I'm thinking about holding space with a website, theabsolutetruth.com. And I was looking up these things, and there's actually nothing. That website doesn't hold anything. No one, if you Google absolute truth, there's no definitive answer. And that's what we need to try and go out with our purity being the force, with our sadhana bhakti being the force, and give that truth out to others, as Lord Ramachandra is empowering us to do, to bring back Ram Raj in this whole earth.
Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Enam Kanvandam Maravindanalaya Taksham Varhavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandar Ako Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobha pritimanti pasyanti panti kayanti chiram jaganti ananda chinmaya sadhu jala vigrahasya govindam adipurusham amaham bhajami 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 govindam adipurusham.
You want cartels?
I hope I have.
You
No,
have,
I
you,
don't
you,
know.
you have it. Okay.
I just get my voice proper. Jai Radhe Jai Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Bolo Jai Jai Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Shama Kunda Giri Govardhan Kalindi Jamna Jaya Jaya Mahavan Kalindi Jaya Jaya Mahavan Bolo Jai Radhe Jai Krishna Jai Vrindavan Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Bolo Jai Radhe Jai Keshi Gata Bansi Gata Vasa Sakanan Keshi Gata Bansi Gata Dwadasa Kanan Jahan Sab Lila Kailo Shri Nandan Nandan Jahan Lila Nandan Nandan Bolo Jai Radhe Jai Krishna Jai Vrindavan Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Bolo Shri Nanda Yashoda Jaya Jaya Gopagan Shri Jaya Shri Madai Jaya Jaya Denu Vastagan Shri Madai Jaya Denu Vastagan Bolo Jai Radhe Jai Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Bolo Radhe Jaya Jai Vrishabhanu Jai Kirtada Sundari Jai Vatsu Jai Kirtida Sundari Jai Purnamasi Jaya Abhira Nagari Jai जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय वृंदावन श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन बोलो जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय 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 गोपेश्वर वृंदावन माय जय 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 कृष्ण सखा बाटू दी जरा जय राज बोलो जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय वृंदावन श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन बोलो जय जय राम घाट जय रोहिणी नंदन जय 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 वृंदावन वासी जट जन जय बोलो जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय वृंदावन श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन बोलो जय राधे जय द्विजा पत्नी जय नाग कन्या गान जय भक्ति ते जहर पीलो गोविंदा चरण भक्ति ते जहर पे गोविंदा चरण बोलो जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय वृंदावन श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन बोलो जय श्री रस मंडला जय जय राधा श्याम श्री रस जय जय रस लीला सर्व मनोरम बोलो जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय वृंदावन श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन बोलो जय उज्ज्वल रस सर्व रस सार जय उज्ज्वल रस सर्व रस सार जय पर किया भावे जहाँ पजते प्रचार हर बोलो जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय वृंदावन श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन बोलो जय राधे वृंदावन मोहन श्री जानव पद पद्म कोरिया सम्राट श्री दीन कृष्ण दासे कोय नम संकीर्तन तन बोलो जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय वृंदावन श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन बोलो कृष्ण जय वृंदावन श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन बोलो राधे जय कृष्ण जय वृंदावन गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जय वृंदावन धाम की जय It's true. glories. Glories. Pastimes. All glories to Krishna, Divine Father and Mother, Nanda and Yashoda. All glories to the cowherd boys, headed by Sri Dama. All glories to the cows and calves of Braja. All glories to Radha, Divine Father and Mother, Vrishmanu, and the beautiful Kirtida. All glories to Purnamasi, the mother of Sandipani Muni. All glories to the young, all glories to Gabeshwar and the residents of Vrindavan to protect the holy Dham. All glories to the Krishna's fury, Brahmana from Mangala. All glories to Ramghat, where Dham is holy. Glories to Lord Balram, the son of Rohini. All glories to all residents of Vrindavan. All glories to the wives of the proud Vedic Brahmanas. All glories to the wives of the Kali serpent. To obtain the lotus feet of Lord Govinda. All glories to the place where was performed. All glories to Ram and Sham. All glories to the divine rasa dance, which is the most beautiful all Krishna pastimes. All glories to the mellows of conjugal love, which is the most excellent of all rasas, is propagated in Braja by Krishna in the form of the divine Parkiya Bhava. Remembering the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda, consort Shri Janva Devi, this very fallen and holy name. Shri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki jai.
And speaking of Sankirtan, we're going out to Chapel Hill on Saturday afternoon between 3 and 5. There happens to be a sporting event, so there'll be a lot of people around. And it's going to be a little cool, but it's going to be sunny, so please come out. We'll meet at the post office on Franklin Street. Chaitadarpanam marjanam bhavamahadavagni nirvapanam Shreyakairavya chandrika vitaranam Vijavadu jivanam Anandam buddhi varnanam Pratipanam pranamrita swaranam Sarvatma snapanam Param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam namakari bahuda nija sarva shaktis tatrapita niyamita smarane nakala etadrishi tavakripa bhagavan mamapi turdaiva midrishami hajjani nanuraga trinada pisu nichena tarora pisu hishuna Amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari nadaram najanam nasundarim kavitam vajagadisha kamaye mama janmani ishvare bhavatad bhaktir hoitaki twai ayinanda tanuja kinkaram patitam mam vishame bhavan buddha kripayata vabada pankaja Stita Duli Sajushim Vachintaya Nainam Gashudaraya Varanam Gad Garudaya Gira Pulakarnishitam Vabukada Tavanamagrahane Bhavishiti Yugayatam Namishena Chakshusha Bhavashayatam Shunayatam Jagat Sarvam Govind